What are you going to do? Be a viable alternative. You can't do anything because you lost the election. You lost all three branches of government. Okay, so the only thing you can do is be somebody a party who, when the independent voter looks at the scene, says, oh, you know what? I don't like what Trump is doing, but these people are crazy.
This brings us directly to the latest scandal that Bill Maher has caused. You know, the guy just doesn't hold back anymore. On his show, Real Time with Bill Maher, he offered a biting critique of the woke left that is making waves in the political community.
Like, get creative with the House rules, see what you can do. I actually honestly don't hate the government shutdown idea. I think Democrats need to show that they're willing to play hardball. No one wins in a government shutdown, let's be clear. It's not good for the public, but they need some kind of an actual action beyond just whining outside of a federal building.
Indeed, the Democrats are the ones who are most harmed by his verbal attacks. Now, he's basically scolding them for focusing too much on their complaints without, offering any useful solutions.
Wait a second.
Where the Democrats missed it is that they could have stood up and brought people in who have been affected by these policies in an incredibly negative way, and there's plenty of them, and talk to those folks and distribute it out so that they're talking to their neighbors.
Okay, I don't know. When the Democrats threaten to do it, it's always the end of the world. How can you do this when you shut down the government? We don't pay our bills and all the rest of the shit that goes on, and you're going to crash the economy. But now it's okay?
No, I did not.
No, I'm talking.
I do not endorse the government shutdown. I think everybody loses with the government shutdown. It's not the right thing.
His audience really gasped as he exposed layers of what he considers to be total garbage. Furthermore, it is clear that Maher is saying what many others have been thinking but have been afraid to say. Isn't it something?
It's apropos of what's going on the left. And by the way, if you watch the speech, I saw mostly the clips of it, and mostly it was people in the audience, the guy with the cane, people with, like, paddles. Oh, there's the cane dude. And then there's, okay, here's our pussy hat uniform. And these, looks like you're at a auction signs. I mean, it was, John Fetterman called it a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. I love him. I said he should run last week. The Democrats seem so lost. And here's Jasmine Crockett, who is, I thought, a big leader in the Democratic Party. Her quote is, "This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it." On with what would be my first question. And also, this is the way this is like how a podcaster talks or some shit. Fuck it, man. Can you imagine, I don't know, Obama saying, "Oh, man, dude, this shit is whack, and fuck it. Just slap me. I'm fucking over it." I mean, come on, man.
They're elected members of Congress that, yes, well in the minority, it doesn't mean you have no power. The sort of idea of all you can do is a poorly orchestrated press conference or hold up the sign, it's not really true.
All right. What specifically did Bill Maher say that has everyone talking now that we're in the thick of things? He went to great lengths to attack the effectiveness, or lack thereof, of Democratic leadership. Maher's remarks, you see, went beyond the obvious. He talked about why he thinks the left is experiencing a kind of identity crisis. Maher questions the approach that the Democrats seem to be set on. Perhaps a bit obsessively, he constantly draws attention to the fact that they put complaints ahead of any practical, actual solutions. Just like hair caught between his fingers, he says they are extremely good at bringing attention to problems, like yelling from the rooftops that this is wrong and that's terrible, but offering no real remedies. He is basically implying that the Democrats have lost their compass and map and are going around in circles while pretending to know all the directions, comparing their current predicament to being lost in the woods. How do you feel about that imagery? Strong, isn't it? Maher uses woke culture specifically to support his claims, arguing that it sometimes takes focus away from urgent issues. He suggests that saying the right thing and being politically correct have become the main priorities. But what about acting in a moral manner? He is promoting more substance over style, initiatives that actually have an impact rather than just serving as talking points. The victimhood dynamic was something Maher was not hesitant to point out. He argues that Democrats are effectively playing the victim card without having the cards that deliver a winning hand. Even while they admit they are victims of the current administration, this policy or that policy, what is the progressive way to move forward, if that makes sense? He also criticized them for not being able to reach a large audience. Maher highlights the need to connect with moderates and independent voters who are trying to remain afloat in a political ship that is adrift. He is essentially asking why these individuals aren't drawn to the Democrats. He speculates that it may be because people believe their actions are erratic and possibly overly extreme. Furthermore, his critique is not an isolated claim. By including his panel in the conversation, Maher deepens his analysis of his initial statements. The panel echoed concerns about this discrepancy in leadership effectiveness. There was a noticeable change in the room's dynamic. Some viewers nodded in agreement, possibly relieved that someone was finally voicing their feelings, while others appeared somewhat perplexed, possibly even shocked, that Maher, a vocal leftist for so long, was now publicly airing dirty laundry. It was quite evident that the paralysis prevented them from doing much more than yelling audience replies. Maher even criticized Jasmine Crockett, the rising star of the Democratic Party. He quoted her when she stated, "This is a terrible nightmare." Then, with a hint of cynicism, he inquired about the nature of the nightmare and what she recommended they all do about it. Again, he's arguing that the call to action needs to be more than a simple, "let's get moving" declaration. When Maher compares the tone of certain Democrats to that of a podcaster who is jokingly griping about the situation, he is aware of the irony. He highlights the necessity for leaders to seem more like they are offering real inspiration and direction, rather than simply expressing frustration by asking, "Can you imagine Obama speaking like that?" Oh, and then the conversation turned to Democratic remedies. Maher sarcastically expressed his astonishment at the party's lack of originality. For instance, how about implementing significant change in a fresh approach by utilizing the House's rules? Do they only employ shutdowns? Wouldn't it be revolutionary if they used power moves or groundbreaking legislation instead of press conferences? Alyssa Farah Griffin said, "From a political standpoint, they have to rule wherever they have power. Using that power, even if it's only a House seat, is more important than acting as though it doesn't exist while still recognizing the grave repercussions that a government shutdown, for instance, may have." As this unfolds, Maher continues to warn the Democrats that if they don't steer their ship more expertly, they could end up as trapped as he says they will. And there is a lot of discussion about it.
Work together, hopefully in a bipartisan way, to come up with an agreement so that the government stays open, because it is a total waste of taxpayer money and services. It's Elon Musk on steroids. All the services go away.
The only pushback, and by the way, I agree it's not actually good for the country, but a political strategy standpoint, the Republicans control both chambers and the White House. Underscore that. Say, Mike Johnson, you need to find the votes.
That's true.
John Thune, you have to find the votes. Maybe at least take it to the edge, as they often do, but there's got to be some sort of owning the power that you have in Congress, or then get out and have a podcast.
There isn't. You know what? People come to me all the time when I'm out, like at the Oscar party. They're, "Bill, what are we going to do?" What are we going to do? I don't know. You're at the Oscar party. Have a great time.
Yeah, exactly.
Take note of how he highlights a key point in his remarks. It's time to realize that rhetoric without concrete outcomes can only get you so far. I assume you concur? This outburst is not unique. People are annoyed by Maher's comments, and it's true that rank-and-file liberals, and liberals of all shades, are becoming increasingly irritated with him. Words lose their significance if they are not accompanied by strategy and action. Sincere deeds and sincere planning. That's the point of dispute, people.
Life is falling apart, you fucking phony. No, but, you know, what are you going to do? Be a viable alternative. You can't do anything because you lost the election. You lost all three branches of government. Okay, so the only thing you can do is be somebody who, a party who, when the independent voter looks at the scene, says, "Oh, you know what? I don't like what Trump is doing, but these people..."
Oh, you know what? He says, "I don't agree with Trump's behavior, but these people are crazy." Now is your moment. What do you think? After all, do you believe that Maher's critique is valid, or does he fail to recognize what is happening with the Democrats? So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.